Greetings from Atolia, I'm the Lord Bones, IMO our Darker Purpose. A Darker Purpose is a 2D shooter with roguelike elements and pickups. It was released on Steam on the 29th of January after a Kickstarter by Avidly Wild Games. Okay, firstly we're going to talk about our Darker Purpose as an actual application. So firstly, there are no resolution options, it is just windowed and full screen. All the keys can be rebound. And the sound only seems to have 10 options. Not very expansive if you ask me. Now, our Darker Purpose has many roguelike elements. You generally start back with absolutely nothing from the previous game. However, you can pay money to the counsellor here, who will occasionally give you items. I've already completed the game, so I've already given him everything. So I'll get an additional jukebox, extra class period, additional chalk, and art supplies unlocked. I'm not exactly sure what the last one actually does, but I decided to unlock it anyway. Outside of that, you get one-time use of these here. Now, for some reason, this menu does not work with a mouse, only works with the keyboard. I have literally no idea why parts of the actual interface only work with the keyboard. These here, you could just buy with tokens, and they will only last for one run. Item log is just for your general looking up what things do. Okay, let's get out of this now. Let me show you the actual game, shall I? So, I'm going to start from level 1 and show you what the game actually is. So you shoot in 4 directions and you walk in many. I am not very good for some reason. So, as you can see from the beginning, this game has a really sort of sinister art style. By the way, this red door means a boss, that's why I'm not going on that one. But we see this game has a really sinister art style. It's meant to be an abandoned sort of school that one day a teacher decided to no longer teach there and everyone went and rioted. Okay, you collect items like so. Well, that one there means my chalk, which I have 1 of, which I'll probably use before the end if I don't end up dying, now has arrows that shoot out. Now, one thing to note about this game, it is very, very difficult. So difficult that I think that they will put off a lot of people that don't like any sort of torture platformers and things along those lines, because you will probably not end up getting past chapter 1, let alone into the really interesting stuff. Myself, it took me about 2 hours just to complete the chapter 1 boss, which wasn't very nice at all. Now, for this reason, because it's more of a roguelike, it doesn't respect your time. You always start back at the beginning, every single time. Even when you complete a chapter for the first time, some obtuse little thing says in the storyline, oh, she tripped on a banana or something, go start back from the beginning and do the entire chapter just so you can then continue. That, I think, is mainly to lengthen out the game. I don't appreciate it though. So I'm picking up money here. There is a small economic system, and I do have these juice boxes down here which do heal my health. Now, right from the get-go you can probably see how sort of varied the enemies actually are. Now, these do vary from chapter to chapter quite immensely, and as you saw in the last room, there are what they call champions, which are slightly stronger enemies which will then drop another item. Now, the items and pickups are probably the main reason why I think this game can be completed, because on the later levels, without a sort of good variety of different items like plus damage, and I think I've got a few little video clips of me with flames coming out the moment I dodge. Without any of that stuff, I doubt this game would ever be possible to be completed with just 100 health, which is goes on to the next little hitch I have with the difficulty, is that the bosses are actually randomised, so you might be getting a really difficult boss really early on. But maybe that's part of the charm of it. Maybe that's just what the game developers actually wanted in order to make it more difficult. And I've actually levelled up here. I had to choose between a clockwork orphanage, which gives me 20% attack speed, or 10% movement speed, and gain 20% movement speed when not damaged for 5 seconds. I'm just going to get attack speed, I think. If I press C, you can see that I have an XP amount up here, money amounts, and so on and so forth, and you can look back at any of the items you previously had, so that way you can tell what you've actually picked up, because this game is actually quite long. I actually timed an entire I'll go down this, I timed an entire game, and it took about an hour and a half of constant playing. I went through every single room, and this game definitely encourages you to go through every single room. I have actually no idea, by the way, what that there does through my entire playthrough, but I'm going to get that one anyway, because it seems to be good. So you're actually expected to, without a save, play an hour and a half worth, at the very least, if you're very good, and I'm not, through the entire game. Now, this here, by the way, is a boss room. I'm going to go through here and explain to you the main perk of this game if you actually do like torture platformers. It's the bosses. They are really varied, very, very difficult, and keep you on your toes during the course of the game. It's very much a Risk of Rain style system, in which you're supposed to look around for items, and then you know where the boss is going to come out of. So you can decide either, do I want to fight the boss now, or do I want to carry on looking around all the items? I would strongly suggest, even if you end up getting killed, looking around all the items, because you don't end up surviving very long. I've only ever completed this game twice, from start to finish, and if I did not get the correct items throughout the course of the entire thing, it would not work. I would have died at chapter 3 or chapter 2, which is a good 45 minutes in. So I'd recommend going through every single room possible, getting all the items and choosing things that you think are actually going to be beneficial to you. Now, the soundtrack in this game I thought was really nice, but only really nice when you get a little bit further in. When I go to level 2 or 3, it actually gets much nicer than what it does currently. And I might be able to show you a little bit of that now. Okay, completed that level off. I get a token mount here, which goes back to that council you saw earlier on, by the way. So, here we see that this actually has a sort of path that goes all the way up here to the very top of the tower, which is where the game actually ends. You can then choose whether or not which one you want to actually take, whether or not you want to take, in this case, a sensitive one, which means everyone takes more damage, or just a regular one. More credits on the harder ones more often than not. Now, my problems with it are the difficulty ceiling. My problems with it are in the fact that it does not respect my time. I had to continually play this game for hours on end. And I suppose my major problem as well is that the later bosses are absolutely unbloody beatable. I must have done the chapter 4 and chapter 5 boss in double figures times before I actually managed to beat them. It's ridiculously difficult. And I think that will put off a lot of people. So, I think that's everything I need to say on this game. A Darker Purpose is really just a game for anyone that likes torture platformers. If you don't fall into that category, there's nothing here for you really. You won't end up completing it, so I wouldn't actually bother. It's on Steam for $14.99 or €13.99 or £11.99. So see you in the next one. Goodbye.